Good afternoon, students. Welcome to antennas and wave propagation class. So this is our second class, and in last class we discussed or we introduced the course by explaining the course structure, and then we started some fundamentals regarding this subject, antennas and wave propagation. So before today's class is on antenna basics. So in that basics, the first topic is radiation mechanism. So let us try to understand how the antenna radiates the energy, how the antenna produce the electromagnetic waves or radio waves. Okay. So before starting the second class, today's class, so let me review briefly on what we covered the yesterday's class. So in yesterday's class, we have seen what is the antenna. That means the definition of the antenna. The definition of the antenna is a means for radiating or receiving radio waves. This definition is according to IEEE. The antenna may be anything. It means for radiating or receiving radio waves. That is called antenna. So next, where the antenna is used and how the antenna is used. So we know in order to establish a wireless communication between any 2 points, we need antenna. So this antenna we use at the transmitter side as well as at the receiver side. The antenna that is used at the transmitter side, that converts the guided waves into free space waves, or that converts the electrical signals into electromagnetic signals. The antenna that is used or that is connected at the receiver side will captures the free space waves and converts that free space waves into guided waves. The same we can also tell like this: the antenna that is connected to the receiver end or to the receiver receives the electromagnetic waves and converts that electromagnetic waves into electrical signals. Okay, so the antennas are used in wireless communications, and the purpose how this antenna works, that is also we covered yesterday. The next third point is the antenna is a critical device or very important device in wireless communications because it's it can impact the performance of the entire communication system. So in order to justify this statement, in yesterday's class we considered the Thevenin's equivalent of antenna transmitting system. From that explanation, what we understand is if the antenna is designed properly with proper impedance matching, the entire energy from the source will go to the antenna. That antenna radiates or that antenna converts that electrical signal into electromagnetic waves. That means a good design of an antenna will improve the performance of entire communication system. If you design the antenna with poor quality or with improper impedance matching, then that antenna will degrade the performance of the entire communication system. Like that, the antenna is a critical parameter that can impact the performance of a communication system. So after that, we covered the different types of antennas. We just given the names of the different types of antennas. If you recollect, The first type of antenna is the wire antenna. So under this category, there are helical antenna, loop antenna, dipole antenna, and monopole antenna. These are the wire antennas. Why we are calling these are the wire antennas means because all these antennas are constructed by using conducting wires. So that is the reason we are calling them as a wire antennas. The second type of antenna is the aperture antennas. So the aperture antennas are constructed with the waveguides. So under this category, there will be a horn antenna or waveguide antennas. These are the types under the aperture antenna. The next third category of antenna is the microstrip antenna. So I already said the microstrip antennas are very important antennas in your mobile phones, in your smartphones. If you could open your mobile phone, so you will find the microstrip antennas. So in all your mobile phones, there will be 3 to 4 microstrip antennas. Each microstrip antenna find a different application. That means for Bluetooth application, there will be one microstrip antenna. For navigation purpose, GPS or GLONASS, something like that. For such navigation purpose, there will be one antenna. And for receiving your mobile signals, cell phone signals, network signals, for that purpose, there will be another antenna. Like that, in your mobile phone, smartphone, there will be 3 to 4 antennas will be there. So this is the microstrip antenna. So after that, next category or next type of antenna is the reflector antennas. So in this reflector antennas, we concentrate more on the parabolic reflector antennas. These parabolic reflector antennas are used for long distance communications in order to send the signals over a long distance or in order to receive the signals from the long distances. We use the parabolic reflector antennas. In most of the cases, we use in satellite earth stations and other defense applications. Last type of the antenna is array antennas. So array is nothing but more than one antenna of similar kind that are arranged electrically and geometrically in order to meet the certain application or certain purpose. So array means more than one antenna that are arranged electrically or geometrically. So these array antennas are also have certain applications. So these are the various types of antennas that we covered, that we have seen yesterday's class. The next one is the applications of antennas, where we use these antennas. So we can tell in our cell phones we are using antennas, and at cell towers we are using antennas, and TV stations, radio stations, AM, FM radio stations, and satellite communication purpose we are using, and in navigation purpose we are using antennas. These are the some applications. There are n number of applications for the antennas. The fundamental thing is wherever the wireless communication is there, there will be an antenna. So without antenna, we cannot establish wireless communication. If there is a device, communication device or wireless communication device, then definitely that device contains or consists an antenna. So like that, antennas we are using in our daily life, in mobile phones, in cell towers, in order to have the uh, TV signals, Tata Sky and Dish TV. So, and also uh, in body area networks, there are many number of applications. So these are the topics what we covered yesterday. So in today's class, let us try to understand the antenna radiation mechanism. Radiation mechanism. How a antenna radiates. How a antenna produce radio waves. So before going to actual class, let us let us try to recollect some fundamental things. So here you could see a charge is nothing but a number of electrons, that is Q is equal to Ne, where E is the charge of the electron, N is the number. If there are a set of electrons, a group of electrons, then we call that those set of electrons as a negative charge. If there are a set of protons, then we call that set of protons as a positive charge. Okay, then charge is nothing but the number of electrons or protons. If there are more number of electrons, then we call it as a positive charge. If there are more number of negative protons, then we call it as a or holes, then we call them as a positive charge. This charge, this charge Q will produce electric field. If there is charge Q, then that charge will produce electric field E. So because of this charge, if this charge moves, if this charge moves, then that moving charge will produce the current. Because of that current, the magnetic field will be created. So understand it very clearly. Try to understand it. So because of the charge, the electric field will be produced. If the charge moves, then the current will flows. Because of that current, there will be a magnetic field. Okay. Next, the time varying electric field. That means the electric field that changes with the time. Electric field function of the time. That time varying electric field produce time varying magnetic field. And likewise, the time varying magnetic field will produce time varying electric field. That means electric field, time varying electric field induce the magnetic field, and that magnetic field again induce the electric field, and that induced electric field again induce the electric field to magnetic field to electric field. Like that, the electromagnetic wave travels in the free space. Okay, so this is very important. The let me revise once again. The charge is nothing but the number of electrons are positive. This charge will produce the electric field. Because of the movement of the charge, there will be a current. That current produce the magnetic field. The time varying electric field, time varying electric field produce time varying magnetic field, and time varying magnetic field produce time varying electric field. So these are the very fundamental things that we need to recollect. Okay, now let us move to the actual content. So in order to understand the radiation mechanism of an antenna, the complete radiation mechanism we can understand by using a single wire antenna and a two wire antenna. First we'll see the single wire radiation. So here we could see a conducting wire. This is the conducting wire. This one is a conducting wire, and this conducting wire cross sectional area is A. Now I am placing this conducting wire along the Z axis. So this is one conducting wire. This conducting wire cross sectional area is capital A. This conducting wire is placed along the Z axis. So in this conducting wire there will be a charge. Assume that that charge is moving with a uniform velocity Vz. Here you could see Vz. This one is the conducting wire and its cross sectional area is A, and this conducting wire is placed along the Z axis. So in this conducting wire there is a charge Q. That charge is moving. Assume that the charge is moving with a uniform velocity Vz. Okay, because of the charge, because of the charge across this cross sectional area, the current density Jz is equal to, this Jz is proportional to the charge Q. So that we can write as Jz is equal to Qv into Vz. Vz is the velocity of charge. Okay, where Qv is the charge. If this conducting wire is a perfect conducting wire, if it is a perfect conducting wire, then what happens? If it is a perfect conducting wire, the entire charge or the free electrons will be available over the surface of this conducting wire. Then we call that current due to this surface electrons, we call it as a surface current density, Js. Js is equal to Qs into Vz, where Qs is the surface charge density. Once again I repeat, if this conducting wire is perfect conducting wire, if it is a perfect conducting wire, then what happens? All the free electrons that are generated in this conducting wire will be available over the surface of this wire. The current due to those surface electrons is called surface current density. That density is Js. Js is equal to Qs into Vz, where Qs is the surface charge density. In third case, what I am considering is, if this wire is having almost zero radius, that means if the wire is a thin wire, if this wire is very thin wire, then we cannot give the term current density. We can give the, we can define the current. That current is Iz. Iz is equal to QL into Vz, where QL is the charge along the wire L, and Vz is the velocity of the charge that is moving along the wire. Okay, next, if the current is the time varying current, if the current is time varying current, then we write this equation, current equation, as diz by dt is equal to ql into dvz by dt. The dvz by dt is nothing but acceleration, rate of change of velocity. Dvz by dt is nothing but rate of change of velocity, that is equal to acceleration. So this equation is reduced to QL into AZ. Now, now this conducting wire length is L. So this equation I am multiplying with term L. L into diz by dt is equal to L into QL dVz by dt, that is equal to L into QL into AZ. I am multiplying the above equation with L because I considered a conducting wire and its length is L. I am multiplying all the terms with length of wire L. So this equation is the fundamental equation or the basic equation that gives the meaning of radiation. This is the fundamental equation that gives or that provides the meaning for a radiation. So from this equation, we can tell that in order to create the radiation, from this equation I am telling, in order to create the radiation, there must be a time varying current diz by dt or acceleration or deceleration of charge. So once again I repeat, in order to get the radiation, there must be a time varying current. Time varying current means diz by dt, or there must be an acceleration or deceleration of charge. సో ఈ రెండిట్లో ఏదో ఒకటి ఖచ్చితంగా ఉండాలి. ఫ్రమ్ దిస్ ఈక్వేషన్ మనకు అర్థమయ్యేది ఏంటంటే, మనకి రేడియేషన్ రావాలి అంటే ఒక వైర్లో నుండి దేర్ మస్ట్ బి ఏ టైమ్ వేరింగ్ కరెంట్ ఆర్ యాక్సిలరేషన్ ఆర్ డీజిలరేషన్ ఆఫ్ చార్జ్ ఏజెడ్. సో టైమ్ వేరింగ్ కరెంట్ అన్న వైర్లో నుంచి ఫ్లో అవుతుండాలి, లేకపోతే చార్జ్లో యాక్సిలరేషన్ ఆర్ డీజిలరేషన్ అన్న ఉండాలి. ఈ రెండిట్లో ఏదో ఒక కండిషన్ని మీట్ అయినప్పుడు మాత్రమే దెన్ ఓన్లీ దిస్ వైర్ will act as a radiator. Then only this wire radiates the energy. Then only this wire produce the radio waves. Okay, I think it is clear. I call someone, Krishna Teja, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Again, or shall I repeat once again?
No need, sir.
Is it clear? Okay, Krishna Teja. So for your clarity and all, I repeat once again. I consider a conducting wire and its cross sectional area is A, and this conducting wire I am placing along the z axis. So in this conducting wire there is a charge. That charge is moving with a uniform velocity Vz. So in this conducting wire, the current density over this cross sectional area, the current density is Jz. The current density Jz is equal to, this current density is proportional to charge density over this cross sectional area. So the charge over this cross sectional area is QV. So Jz is equal to QV into Vz, where Vz is the velocity of charge. Next, similarly, if this conducting wire is perfect conducting wire, if this wire is the perfect conducting wire, then all the electrons, free electrons, will be available over the surface of the wire. The current density due to those surface electrons, the current density is Js, that is equal to Qs into Vz. If this wire is a thin wire, then we cannot define or we cannot give the density value. If it is very thin wire, then we can define only current, that is Iz is equal to QL into Vz, where QL indicates the charge along the length of the wire. If the current that is flowing through this wire is the time varying current, then the above equation we write as diz by dt is equal to QL into dVz by dt, where dvz by dt is the rate of change of velocity of the charge. The rate of change of the velocity is nothing but acceleration. So this we can write as ql into az. So since this conducting wire length is L, I am multiplying all the three terms with L. Therefore, we get the equation as L into diz by dt is equal to L into ql dvz by dt is equal to L into ql az. So this is the basic equation or the fundamental equation that provides the information regarding the radiation. So from this equation, what we understand is, in order to radiate or in order to get the radiation from any conducting wire, then there must be a time varying current diz by dt. There must be a time varying current, or there must be acceleration or deceleration of charge. Any one condition we should satisfy. Otherwise, the wire will not act as a radiator. So either the time varying current or accelerated or decelerated charge must be there. Then only this wire will act as a radiator. I think it is very clear for you. So now we'll take one case. So in this case, I'm considering a single wire. If the charge is stationary in that wire, I'm taking a wire. So in that wire, if the charge is stationary, that means charge is not moving. If the charge is not moving, then no current will flows in that conducting wire. If there is no current, there will be no radiation. This is the first case. I'm taking a wire. So in that wire, the charge is stationary. That means charge is not moving. Charge is there, but the charge is not moving. If the charge is not moving, then no current is developed. If there is no current, there is no radiation. In second case, what I am taking is, if the charge is moving with uniform velocity, I'm taking a wire. So in that wire, the charge is moving with uniform velocity. Then there is no radiation. If the charge is moving along the wire with uniform velocity, then there will be no radiation. The radiation is possible only when that wire is curved or bent or discontinuous or truncated or terminated. Because of these things, because of the curve, because of the bent, because of the discontinuous, because of the terminated or truncated, the charge that is present in the conducting wire will be accelerated. Okay, so this bending or curved shape and discontinuous, termination and truncation, all these we are doing in order to accelerate the charge that is present in the wire. So when the charge is accelerated, then the radiation will occurs. Okay, so once again I repeat. So I am taking a wire. So if the charge is stationary in that wire, then no radiation, no current will flows. As a result, there will be no radiation. In the second case, I am taking a wire. So in that wire, the charge is moving. Now the charge is moving, but the moving with uniform velocity. The charge is moving with uniform velocity. Because of that, there won't be any time varying current. The charge is moving uniform velocity. For all the time, the current is same. In that case also, the wire will not act as a radiator. The wire will act as a radiator only in two cases. The first one is when the current across the wire is time varying current, then the wire will act as a radiator. Otherwise, the charge within the wire must be accelerated or decelerated. So in order to accelerate or decelerate, we can do that wire in the curved shape. If we make that wire as a curved wire, then that wire will act as a, even the charge is having uniform velocity, because of this curved shape, the charge gets accelerated. Because of the bend also, the charge gets accelerated, then it radiates the energy. Likewise, because of the discontinuity also, the charge gets accelerated, then the radiation will take place. Similarly, because of the termination, that means if you terminate that wire with some impedance, then also the charge that is present in the wire will be accelerated and the radiation will takes place. Similarly, truncation, that means if you cut that conducting wire, then also the charge will gets accelerated, the radiation will takes place. So these are the various configuration. With these configurations, we can accelerate or we can decelerate the charge that is there in the conducting wire. As a result, we get the radiation from the wire. Okay. So I think it is clear how the radiation will takes place from the single wire. So if you take any wire, so in order to get the radiation from that wire, there must be a time varying current or acceleration or deceleration of the charge. In order to accelerate or decelerate the charge, that wire must be in curved shape, or we need to make it as a bend or discontinuous, termination or truncation. Because of these configurations, the charge that is present in the wire will gets accelerated or decelerated. Okay. So let us take an activity, a question. Please read the question and post your answers in chat box. All of you, please read this question carefully and post your answers in chat box. To create radiation, there must be dash. There must be a direct current or time varying current or accelerating current. What is your answer? Post your answer in chat box. So all of you respond for this question. I will see the chat box also, who are responding, who are not responding. Even the answer is wrong also, we don't bother, or we don't give any punishment. Please respond. Responding to the question is very, very important. To create radiation, there must be dash. I'll pick one. Sai Prakash, are you there? Sai Prakash from B section. Unmute yourself, Sai
Yes,
Prakash.
sir.
Sai Prakash.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Sai Prakash. What is your answer for this question?
Answer B, sir. Time varying current.
So, in order to answer is B,
B,
time
yeah.
varying current.
Current.
Yes. In order to create the radiation, or in order to get the radiation from any conducting wire, there must be time
Time
varying current.
varying.
Okay, very good, Sai Prakash. Next, we'll take the second question. Take second question and post your responses in chat box. To create radiation, there must be dash. Direct charge, time varying charge, or accelerating charge. What is your answer? ఒక వైర్ వీఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ ఏ వైర్. సో ఆ వైర్ మనకి యాంటెనా లాగా వర్క్ చేయాలి. అది యాంటెనా లాగా వర్క్ చేయాలి అంటే అందులో ఏమి ఉండాలి అసలు? డైరెక్ట్ ఛార్జ్ ఉండాలా, టైం వేరింగ్ ఛార్జ్ ఉండాలా, యాక్సిలరేటింగ్ ఛార్జ్ ఉండాలి? ఏది ఉండాలి? వాట్ ఈస్ యువర్ ఆన్సర్? పోస్ట్ యువర్ ఆన్సర్ ఇన్ చాట్ బాక్స్. ఎవరీవన్ షుడ్ రెస్పాండ్. Either your answer is right or wrong, you should respond. So now, after knowing these two conditions, you can also prepare an antenna. These are the very, very fundamental things. Let me take one. Sheikh Shavali from C section.
Yes, sir.
Sheikh Shavali, what is your answer for this question?
C, sir. C,
What is
sir.
your answer?
Accelerating charge.
Accelerating charge.
Yes, sir.
So from can you conclude from first and second questions, what is the condition that should meet when the wire act as in order to act a wire as a radiator? What is the condition that wire should meet?
It should be having a charge with a positive value, and then it should create a current with time varying.
So for we are having a wire. So this wire will act as a radiator whenever there is a accelerating charge or whenever there is a time varying current across or along this wire. Then only the wire will act as a radiator. Okay ma. Next, third question. To create radiation, there must be. What is your answer? Post your answer in the chat box. Direct charge, time varying charge, or decelerating charge? Krishna Teja.
Sir.
Can you comment on this question? What is your answer?
C, sir.
C,
sir. Decelerating charge.
On the overall, what is your opinion from question 1, question 2, and question 3? What you can conclude from question 1, question 2, and question 3?
To create radiation, there must be a direct current or accelerating or decelerating charge.
Direct current.
Direct current.
To create the radiation, there must be
accelerating or decelerating charge. Time varying current.
Time varying current
or accelerating or decelerating charge.
Yes, very good. సో మనకు వైర్లో టైం వేరింగ్ కరెంట్ అన్నా ఉండాలి, లేదంటే యాక్సిలరేటింగ్ ఆర్ డీసిలరేటింగ్ ఛార్జ్ అన్నా ఉండాలి. ఓకే, వెరీ గుడ్ కృష్ణతేజ.
ఓకే సార్.
Now we'll take the next question.
Sir.
radiation can be created by dash smooth wires, discontinuous wires, or infinite length wires. What is your answer? Post your answer in chat box. For every question you must respond. You must post your answers in chat box. Everyone should respond these questions because these are the fundamental questions you must know. These are the fundamental things for the antennas and wave propagation subject. If you know these things, then only you will be able to understand the rest of the subject. Otherwise, it is difficult for you.
Sir,
Cheppamma, what is your answer
Sir,
for
I
this question?
sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Please.
Sir, will accelerating current produce radiation, sir?
Accelerating charge, not current. Accelerating charge. Accelerating charge or decelerating charge. That means there should be a rate of change in the velocity of the charge. There should be a change in the velocity of the charge. Either it may be accelerated or decelerated. ఓకేనా? ఎవరమ్మా ఇప్పుడు మాట్లాడింది?
Thank you, sir.
ఎవరు మాట్లాడింది?
Asma,
Please
sir.
అర్థమైందా? ఈ
Asma.
పాయింట్ క్లియర్ అయిందా? సో చార్జ్ వెలాసిటీ ఇంక్రీజ్ అన్న అవ్వాలి, చేంజ్ అవుతుండాలి. ఇంక్రీజ్ అన్న అవ్వాలి, డిక్రీజ్ అన్న అవ్వచ్చు. బట్ దేర్ షుడ్ బి ఎ చేంజ్ ఇన్ ద వెలాసిటీ ఆఫ్ ద చార్జ్. ఓకే అష్మా?
సార్ యాక్సలరేటింగ్ కరెంట్ లో కూడా చేంజ్ అవుతుంది కదా సార్?
అది ఆటోమేటిక్గా వస్తుంది మనకు. ఇప్పుడు మనకు వెలాసిటీ చేంజ్ అయిందంటే, చార్జ్ వెలాసిటీ చేంజ్ అయిందంటే డెఫినెట్లీ దెర్ విల్ బి ఎ చేంజ్ ఇన్ ది కరెంట్. దట్ ఈస్ ఆబ్వియస్ కదా అస్మా?
ఎస్ సార్.
మనకు వెలాసిటీ చార్జ్ వెలాసిటీ చేంజ్ అయిందంటే ఆటోమేటిక్గా కరెంట్ కూడా చేంజ్ అవుతుంది. సో బై డిఫాల్ట్ అది ఏమవుతుంది? టైం వేరింగ్ కరెంట్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే.
ఎస్ సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
So what is your answer for this question? Fourth question, Asma?
Discontinuous wires, sir.
Discontinuous wires. So this ఏమవుతుంది because of this discontinuous wires? Can you make a comment?
Will be time varying acceleration and deceleration of charge take place.
వైర్ లో మనకి ఏదైనా డిస్కంటిన్యూటీ రావడం వల్ల చార్జ్ అనేది యాక్సిలరేట్ కానీ డీసిలరేట్ కానీ అవుతుంది. either accelerate or decelerate. So because that the accelerated charge or decelerated charge will produce the radiation. Okay. Discontinuous. Okay, ma. Next we'll take the next question, fifth question. The radiation can be created by dash. Post your answer in chat box for the fifth question also. Let me take Bhavani. Bhavani, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Bhavani from the section.
Yes, sir.
Please read this question and make your comment. What is your response for this question?
Radiation can be created by bent wires, sir.
Bent wires. So ఏమవుతుంది because of the bent wires? ఒక వైర్ని తీసుకొని ఒక కండక్టింగ్ వైర్ని ఆ వైర్ని బెండ్ చేసామనుకోండి. సో అప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది ఆ వైర్లో? రేడియేషన్ అల్టిమేట్గా దట్ ఈస్ ద రిజల్ట్ థింగ్. సో మనకి ఇంటర్నల్గా ఏమవుతుంది ఇన్ దట్ వైర్, కండక్టింగ్ వైర్లో? యాక్సిలరేషన్ కానీ డీసెలరేషన్ కానీ అవుతుంది. అంటే అందులో ఉండే చార్జ్ వెలాసిటీ చేంజ్ అవుతుంది బికాస్ ఆఫ్ ది బెంట్. ఇప్పుడు మనకు వైర్ స్ట్రైట్ గా ఉందంటే ద వెలాసిటీ ఆఫ్ ద చార్జ్ విల్ బి యూనిఫామ్. ఇఫ్ యూ బెండ్ దట్ వైర్ at the bending point, the charge velocity will decrease or decelerates. That results radiation. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma. So next, I think you all understand how the radiation takes place in case of single wire. So the conclusion point is a single wire will act as a radiator only when there is a time varying current or accelerating or decelerating current charge inside that wire. So when the wire satisfies any one condition out of these two, then that wire will act as a radiator. మనం డైరెక్ట్గా టైం వేరింగ్ కరెంట్ అన్న అప్లై చేయాలి, లేదంటే అందులో ఉండే ఛార్జ్ని, ఆ వైర్లో ఉండే ఛార్జ్ని యాక్సిలరేట్ చేయాలి లేదా డీజిలరేట్ చేయాలి. సో ఇన్ ఆర్డర్ టు యాక్సిలరేట్ ఆర్ డీజిలరేట్ we can bend that wire, or we can terminate, we can truncate, or we can make it as a curve. These are the various configurations in order to get the acceleration or deceleration of the charge. Okay, let us move to the next one. So let us try to understand this radiation mechanism by using a two-wire antenna. So in this case, consider a voltage source. Here you can see the voltage source. This voltage source is connected to a two-wire transmission line. This is the two-wire transmission line that is connected to the antenna. This is the antenna, two-wire flared antenna. Now a voltage source, that voltage source is connected to the two-wire antenna, two-wire transmission line that is connected to the antenna. Now that voltage is the sinusoidal voltage. When we apply the sinusoidal voltage at the input side, then this applied voltage will create the electric field. This applied voltage creates the electric field inside the transmission lines. This applied voltage creates the electric field inside the transmission lines. How this electric field is created means, when we apply this voltage, because of this applied voltage, the free electrons and holes will be created. From the positive charge to negative charge, the electric field lines will be created. These arrow marks indicates the electric field lines that are created between these two conducting wires, two conducting transmission lines. Since these electric field lines, force will always act, or will always be in tangential. It will be in tangential direction to the field lines, and also this strength is proportional to the intensity of the electric field. Once again I'll repeat, when we apply this voltage source to the two conducting wires, so because of this applied voltage there will be an electric field. These lines indicates the electric field. This electric field force will always be tangential to these lines, and its strength is proportional to the intensity, and the strength is always proportional to the intensity of the electric field. So this electric field that is created because of the charges will works on the these electric field lines will works, or it will force the free electrons to have the displacement. That means these electric fields, this electric field lines force will works, or will force the free electrons to move. As a result, the electrons moves in these two conductors. When the electrons moves in these two conductors, there will be a current. Because of when there is a current, that current is also a sinusoidal current. When there is a current, that current will produce the magnetic field. I already told in the beginning of the class, because of the current, there will be magnetic field. Because of the charge, there will be electric field. So once again, I will repeat. Here we are considering a voltage source. This voltage source is connected to two wires. These are the two conducting wires. These two conducting wires are connected to an antenna, flared two-wire antenna. Hello? These two,
Yes, sir.
this is, hello?
Yes, sir, it is audible.
Yes, okay. So we are considering a voltage source. This voltage source is connected to two wires transmission line, and this two wire transmission line is connected to an antenna, two wire antenna. This is also a two wire antenna. It is flared. So when we apply the voltage source to this two wire transmission line, because of this voltage source, a charge is created in these wires. When there is a charge, that charge will produce the electric field. These arrow marks, these lines indicates the electric field lines. So these electric field lines will force to move the free electrons. Because of these electric fields, the generated free electrons moves. The displacement or the movement of the free electrons will create the current in these two wires. Because of the current, there will be a magnetic field around these two conducting wires. So since the applied voltage is the periodic voltage, the electric field and magnetic fields that are produced in these conducting wires also periodic fields, and its time period is T. If we cut this antenna at this point, then what happens, these field lines, these three electric field lines will form a closed loop, and they will move away from the antenna. So the velocity of these field lines is equal to the light velocity. So that means if you observe the electric field lines after a time period of T/2, then so it will be available at a distance of λ/2 from the antenna. So once again I repeat, in this, if we cut this antenna at this portion, these field lines will form a closed loop. These field lines will move away from the antenna with the velocity of light, that is 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. So if you observe the position of these field lines after T/2 time, that means the total time period of the input signal is T. If you observe the place where the field lines are there after T/2 means, so these field lines will be available at a distance of λ/2 from the antenna. So from this explanation, we won't get the clear idea how the electromagnetic wave detaches from the antenna. So from this explanation, we get only how the electric field lines are created and how the magnetic field lines are created. Only that information we can get very clearly from this explanation. So in order to get the clear idea about how the detachment of the electric field or electromagnetic waves from the antenna, let us consider a dipole antenna. So this one is a dipole antenna. This one is the dipole antenna. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
వినపడుతుందమ్మా? వినపడుతుందా?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. So in order to understand how the electromagnetic wave detached from the antenna, let us consider a dipole antenna. This is the dipole antenna, a center feed dipole antenna. Center feed means we are giving the input at the center of this dipole antenna. So the input is here. You can see this is the input, the sinusoidal signal or sinusoidal voltage we are applying as an input to this dipole antenna. So after T by 4 time, so when we apply this voltage, there will be, because of this voltage, there will be electric field lines between these two arms. So these are the electric field lines because of the applied voltage V. So after time T by 4, at time T by 4, the electric field lines at the arms of this dipole will be like this. The first created or first generated electric field line will travel a distance of lambda by 4, but it is attached to the antenna. So after T by 4, if you observe the input signal, after T by 4, the input voltage is decreasing. The input voltage is decreasing. So because of the decrease of this input voltage, there will be decrease in the charge inside these two wires, that creates the field lines in the reverse direction. Here you can see these thick lines are the field line, and these are the fields, electric field lines that are created because of the voltage from 0 to T by 4. So after T by 4, from T by 4 to T by 2, there is a decrease in the applied voltage. Because of the decrease in the applied voltage, there will be electric field lines, but that direction is in reverse. So these dotted lines are the electric field lines that are created after T by 4, from T by 4 to T by 2. Okay, so at T is equal to T by 2, at T is equal to T by 2, the applied voltage is 0. At T is equal to T by 2, the applied voltage is 0. The voltage is 0 means there will be no charge inside these two arms of the dipole antenna. If there is no charge, then what happens? Then these field lines will form closed loops and move away from the antenna. Here you can see in the third figure, C, in figure C, at T is equal to T by 2, the applied voltage is 0. When the applied voltage is 0, there is no charge at the arms of the dipole antenna. As a result, these field lines are disconnected to this antenna and form the closed loop and move away from the antenna. Here you can see this thick line that is created in the first quarter of the input signal and this line will form one loop, and this line will form one loop, and this line will form another loop. As a result, the result you can see in the third figure. They will form closed loops and move away. They will be detached from the antenna because the applied voltage is 0 at t is equal to t by 2. Because of this 0 applied voltage, there is no connection between these field lines and antenna. They will form the closed loops and they will be detached, and they will move away from the antenna with the velocity of light. That means if you observe after time t, then it will be available at a radial distance of lambda from the antenna. So like that, the electric field or the electromagnetic fields detached from the antenna. So for the negative half cycle, the same thing will happen, but the direction of the field lines will be in reverse direction. Okay, I think it is clear. Let me take one person. Snehalata, are you there? Snehalata. Snehalata from C section. Sahiti.
Sir,
Detachment of field lines from the antenna అర్థమైందమ్మా?
yes sir, అర్థమైంది సార్.
నేను ఇంకోసారి ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తాను ఒకసారి. సో చూడండి, సో in order to understand the radiation mechanism, here we consider a two-wire antenna. So in this figure there is a voltage source. These lines indicates two-wire transmission line. After that, this indicates antenna. Now we applied a sinusoidal voltage. Here you can see the input signal. If we apply this input signal, then what happens? This input signal will create electric field lines in between these two transmission lines. These electric field lines will move the charges inside the conducting wire. So because of this displacement of the electrons inside the conducting wire, there will be a current. There will be a current in these two conducting wires. That current results, because of that current, what happens? The current will produce the magnetic field around these conducting wires, around these two conducting wires. These generated electric as well as magnetic field lines will travel along this wire, and if we cut this antenna at this point, then these field lines will move away from the antenna. So every time we cannot cut the antenna in order to see the detachment of the electric field lines. So for better understanding of detachment of this generated electric and magnetic fields, detachment of the generated electric and magnetic fields from the antenna, we moved to a dipole antenna. We considered a dipole antenna. For this dipole antenna, we are giving a center field, and we assumed that the travel time of the signal in dipole antenna is almost negligible. So this is the input signal for this dipole antenna. After a time period t by 4, the field lines will be like this. The first generated electric field line is traveled radially at a distance of lambda by 4. Okay, so then after t by 4, what is happening? The input signal voltage is decreasing. So because of the decrease in the input signal voltage, there will be a charge diminish. That means the charge will decreases, that produce the field lines in reverse direction. The electric field lines that are produced due to the voltage from T by 2 to T by 4 to T by 2, we indicated with dotted lines. Here you can see the thick lines are electric field lines produced due to the applied voltage from 0 to T by 4 time. These dotted lines are the electric field lines that are produced due to the applied voltage from T by 4 time to T by 2 time. Since there is a decrease in the applied voltage, the field line's direction is reverse. At a time T by 2, the applied voltage value is 0. Here the voltage value is 0. At a T is equal to T by 2, there is no voltage. So what is happening? What happens if there is no voltage? Then these electric field lines that are created will lose the connection with the antenna, and they will form the closed loops. So this thick line will form a closed loop with this one, and this line will form closed loop with this one, and this line will form closed loop with this. They will form a closed loops and move away from the antenna. So like that, the generated electric and magnetic fields will be detached from the antenna. So the same thing will happen for the negative half cycle also. Okay. So let us take one question. The distance between two half period free space waves is dash. The distance between two half period free space waves is dash. That means from the above figure, this is the wave created for the first half cycle. So it will move away from the antenna with the velocity of light. For the second half cycle, there will be another signal or another free space wave that will be produced after a time period of T by 2. The separation between these two waves will be dash. These waves will move with the velocity of light. So the distance or separation between these two will be, post your answer in chat box. The answer will be lambda by 2, because for every half cycle one free space wave is producing. For the first half cycle, one free space wave will be produced that will travel with velocity of light. If you observe after a time period of T by 2, that will be traveled a distance of lambda by 2. Okay. Okay, ma. Post your answers in chat box. Thank you very much. Thank you for attending the class. We'll meet in the next class.
Thank you, sir.